Yo, what's up guys? In this video I'm going to be showing you the best way to set up your Cubase projects if you're going to be recording artists, and if you're going to need to send that project off to a mixing engineer or somebody else to mix it for you. I'm going to show you guys the best way I set up my Cubase project. I've been using this workflow for years and it has saved me a whole bunch of stress and time.
5 years of madness.
Okay, first things first, when you're trying to make your Cubase project, I always have an artist name first. Then inside that artist, I will have a folder. So every artist has different songs, right? So every song should be in its own folder. Don't mix all your projects together. Put every song in its own folder. I can't stress that enough, guys. Put every song you're working on in its own folder. If I go into all of my artists, let me just pick any artist. Let's say Osana. I have two songs. One is called Jay, one is called Joey. Even if I don't know the name of the project, if I don't know the name of the song, I try and put a folder name first, because sometimes the artist just wants to start recording, they don't even have time to name the song. So I put a folder name for the song. It could be random, or I just have a folder with one song. I don't mix my projects in one folder for the artist. I can't stress that enough. That's the best way I arrange my folders. The reason being is because when you record on Cubase, it makes two folders, audio and images. If you have all your projects in one folder for the artist, it's going to mix all the projects for every song inside this audio folder. So if you have like 3 songs in here, you're going to have audio from song 1, song 2, song 3 inside that audio folder. So you don't want to do that, because when you want to zip that project now, you're going to zip audio that doesn't belong to that project, and it's going to take unnecessary space. Do your best. Like I said, I'm saying this now because I'm trying to save you guys from problems and stress. Go to Cubase and you go to File and you go to New Project. I'm just going to start off an empty project. I'm going to say empty. I'm going to say okay, and I'm going to go to my artist folder. So I have a bunch of artists: Theory Camp, Ache, Ali Pose, Eric. I'm just going to call me Jeb as an artist today. Make a new folder. I'm going to call this song, Grammy song. Grammy song is my song. Okay. And I'll press OK. As easy as that, guys. This step alone will save you a whole bunch. If you go to File, New Project, you might not see the option to choose always create a new folder, always ask for a new folder. But if you're using Cubase 5.12, I think, and above, it's going to show you a place to check that says always ask for a folder. Always choose that, have that thing always checked on. I don't have it checked here. I don't know why, but I guess it's an older version. I think this is 5.10 or 5.11. So after you do that, the next thing you want to do is set your tempo. So I have a beat on my folder. Most of the time when I'm exporting my beats, I don't put the name of the song. I don't even put the key and the BPM, but it's a very, very good practice to put the name of your beats, put the key, and put the BPM. The order does not matter. You can put the BPM first, you can put the key, it doesn't matter, but always make sure you kind of put the details on the file. It makes it easier for the engineer or the artist when you're trying to record. So know the tempo of your beats so that you can set the tempo of your project. The reason why you do that is when you want to add effects like delay, reverb, they're like fixed timings you can put that makes everything calculate itself properly. If you don't put the right tempo of your project and you're slapping on an effect, maybe a delay or reverb, the reverb might not be calculated properly. So then you have to do the extra step of calculating your delay and calculating your reverb. Most plugins already have 1/4 delay, 1/8 delay, 1/2 delay. You can easily just use that setting instead of trying to calculate your BPM and your tempo and knowing how to set your delay and reverb. Trust me, guys. So I'm going to pick this beat called I Miss You. The key is in G major. So now I have the tempo of the beats. I'm going to go to my Cubase and I'm going to click on tempo, change it to fixed. Then you type in the tempo. 103 is my BPM. So now I'm going to drag this beat into Cubase. As easy as that, guys. I'm going to drag it to Cubase. I'm going to press OK and drag it to the end. So it's on time. Now I've done that, I'm going to add some audio tracks. So I'm going to show you guys the best way I do it. I use group tracks as a boss for my, let's say, my lead vocals, my backing. Everything has different group tracks. So first thing I do is I'm going to make group tracks. My lead vocals is going to be in mono. My chorus and my lead, my verses, they're usually in mono. Then my backing for my group tracks, I put them as stereo. Mind you guys, this is a group track, also known as a boss. This is not the track itself. This is a group track. I'm going to put two, one for my chorus and one for my verses. I'm going to call this verse group, and I'm going to call this other one chorus group. I'm going to call it chorus boss. So you know it's usually the same thing, but you know every DAW has a different terminology for it. And I'm also going to add two more, but this time I'm going to put stereo. So the reason why I put stereo is I'm using this for backup. Usually my backing vocals or my ad-libs, I might pan them to the left and the right. Most of the time I don't pan my chorus to the left and right. It's only my backing vocals I pan left and right. Yeah, group track. I'm going to add stereo. I'm going to put two. Actually, I'm just going to put one actually. I'll press OK. I'm going to call it, just double click, call this backing. Now that I've added my group tracks, I'm going to add my audio tracks. So I'm going to add 3 audio tracks first. Add an audio track. I'm going to make it mono. I'm going to add 3 of this. Then the first one, I'm going to call this one verse. Call this one chorus. Call the last one, let's say, ad-lib. Right, after I've done that, I'll come in here and go to my routing. I'm going to choose groups, verse group, go to the chorus, go to groups, choose chorus boss, go to the ad-lib and just choose backing. So after I've done this, I'm going to duplicate my verses so I don't have to do the routing multiple times. I'll make sure my recording in is properly set. If you have an audio interface, you might plug your mic to the left or to the right, so make sure you set all this up. If you guys want more Cubase tutorials, let me know in the comments. You know, I don't really make a lot of Cubase videos, but if you guys want me to make more, I'll make more of this. Then I'm just going to right click and click on duplicate track. I'll copy the name of the verse, Ctrl C, paste it here, Ctrl V, right click again, duplicate tracks, just paste it here and call this verse. And for the chorus, I'll copy the name, I'll duplicate it, I call it chorus, you know, so that I don't have to do multiple routing. I've done it already. I just have to duplicate, so it keeps the same routing. Then my ad-lib too, I can duplicate my ad-libs. The reason why I do this is because sometimes the artist might have different takes for the verse, you know, and sometimes the verses might overlap, and you might not have the right timing to record, you know, one part that's overlapping on another part. So I just have different tracks but same group. And also when I'm adding effects, if I have like the whole general effects I want to add to my verses, usually it's like EQ, compressor, you know, those basic effects, saturation, I might add it on my group track instead of adding it on all these individual tracks itself. The only thing I usually add on here most of the time might be auto-tune. If one part has more auto-tune than one part, or say I need to do more effects, maybe I need to make one part a telephone effect, you know, or something more crazy and more specific to one particular sound, I might do it on here. But if I have like all the general effects, I add it on my verse group, you know, so that it's easier to work that way. So one also good thing to do that, to label your tracks, is because if you don't label your tracks and you come to your project folder, you're going to have, let me go back into my Cubase. If you don't label your tracks, if you go inside Grammy song audio, you're going to have a whole bunch of mixed audio tracks here. You might have verse 1, you might have audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, audio 7. You know, you're not going to be sure which one is the verse, you're not going to be sure which one is the chorus. So name your tracks first, so that when you record, it actually gives you the proper name. And when you're done with your project, you know, it's also very good practice to clean up your project, so that all the takes that you didn't use, if you're ready to send it to somebody to mix it, you can go to projects, then you go to pool, then you're going to see trash. Most of the time you'd have deleted some takes that you didn't use. You right click and you click on empty trash. Now only do this if you have your songs in one particular folder because sometimes you might have multiple audio that is in another folder mixing up in here. So good practice to always label your tracks, and reduce the amount of stress you're gonna have. Now when you're done with the project, all you have to do is right click and go to show more options, send to zip compressed folder. If you have WinRAR, you can do add to archive. If you're using 7-zip, you can go to add to archive. Add to archive compression method I always use best. You can use zip or RAR. Then I always do create solid archive, and I do lock archive so that you don't drop audio files in there by accident. It's just good practice. You don't have to do that. And I press OK. This is my project folder. I can send this to the engineer. Most of the time use zip because some people don't have WinRAR on their folder on their computer and it might not be easy to open it. So you use zip to be more on the safe side. But RAR has better compression rates than the zips. I hope this video was helpful, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, drop a comment. If you have any crazy experience you've had with Cubase, leave it in the comment section, guys.